Good evening, everyone. After a few weeks of not being here, we're back tonight. Got a big agenda, got a lot of business to take care of. Got a very important event that's coming up. Right, part of our meeting tonight is we swear in a new fire chief for the town of Poconos, and that's an exciting time for not only the town, for him, for his family. So, with that said, I'm going to call our meeting to order. Please stand for the invocation and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Let us pray. Gracious Father, we thank you for this day you bless us to see. We thank you for life, health, and strength. Thank you for this opportunity to come together and to get the business at hand, Lord. And we pray that you would direct our commissioners, mayor, all those in charge with good leadership, that they'll do what's right and pleasing unto you. Thank you for this opportunity we have because of the men and women that risk their lives daily, that we can have these freedoms that we have. We give you praise for those that have lost their lives, those that continually active in our military. We pray your blessings upon them and their families. Bless us all and help us to be the people you called us to be in these last and evil days. We give you praise for all things. Amen.
Amen. Place our nation's colors. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please be seated. Next item on our agenda is approval of agenda. Do we have any additions or deletions to tonight's agenda?
Mayor Bellflowers, I would like to add the swearing in of the fire chief as item number 2.
Motion's been made. Got a second?
Second.
All in favor? Seeing none opposed, motion carries.
I have an addition for new business,
Okay,
homeless committee.
that's going to be item B, C, D, E, F.
Yeah.
Discussion about forming a homeless committee. I have a motion, I have a second. Have a second, all in favor? Seeing none opposed, 2 additions to tonight's agenda are approved. With that said, we'll go right into swearing in of our police chief. Fire chief. Thank you. Yeah. Deputy Chief Matt Kane, can you come forward with your family? Right hand. Raise your right hand. Left hand on the Bible. Right hand. I'm going to say your oath. Just repeat after me. I, do solemnly swear that I will truly execute the duties of the office of fire chief for the town of Oakland, according to the best of my skill and ability, according to laws and the local ordinances of the town of Oak Mills. So help me God. Congratulations. Just nod off stage a little bit. All right, it's your turn. You got any words you want to express or say? It's your time.
Well, I just, appreciate all the support from the guys and gals at the station, all the board members, the manager and his staff. Trying to do that again,
And that's all we can ask. The department, firefighters like to come up and say, congratulate the chiefs. The chief's oath of office tonight, you can come forward, please. And if you want to get a nice group picture, then that would be well too. The lineup back here, a very nice group picture.
Congratulations.
You guys want a picture now, huh? You come through,
Okay, so much, and we'll get you a copy as
Okay, we're moving on to the next item. Under official comments will be item 2A. It'll be the manager's report. Ms. Barnes, the chancellor.
Hello, Mayor, fellow board members. If you look at the manager's report in your packet, it highlights the Independence Day Parade, which will be held on July 4th, 2024, 2024 at 10 a.m. Registration is now open and will be open until June 20th. Our firefighters held a Feeding the Fire event on May 31st at Firehouse Subs. We're gonna continue to start doing those type of events where they're there to the general public. It's a partnership with Firehouse for them to provide fire safety tips to the general public as they come in. Juneteenth was still highlighted, June 15th, 11 to 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. at Dirtbag L's. It also highlights the City Vision North Carolina League of Municipalities 2024 conference. There's a lot of very useful information on the education sessions that I attended, and the sponsors, Hope Mills Parks and Recreation update on the construction at the ball field. There's also a Public Works update as well, and the NCDOT construction updates remain on the last page. I would also like to take this time to read the questions and answers to some questions that were sent to us from the general public, and I'll just go through each one one at a time. Staff received a complaint about the gate at Adcock Cemetery not being locked and that cars are parking in the cemetery to watch baseball games, thus blocking the road. Citizens are, what's happening is citizens are parking there for overflow parking for town events. The gate actually has been removed to be utilized in another location, but staff is looking to replace that gate, which when replaced will be locked at dusk during the hours that the park is closed. But there's a window of time between 5 and 8 where it'll still be open, and people may actually be still coming to park in there. And so we're going to see if we can get our staff to police that, to keep those cars out of that location. Another question was tied to when the splash pad will be open. We are at the very tail end. The final as-built drawings are being completed by McAdams. I did talk to PwC today, and once they are received back by McAdams to PwC, they'll release the public line to us later this week. That will allow our contractor to make the final connection to the manhole. We're looking to have it open by Memorial Day, which is the date set by the ordinance. There's another question on why the lake was lowered in April and May and not in February. The work is tied to the contract with Snobble Engineering for annual maintenance. Chimney drains are being repaired, but concrete repairs can't be done in the wintertime. Usually the lake is lowered in January, but for residents to be able to make repairs to their docks, but to to do the concrete repair work, it's best to do that in the summertime. Snobble will be on location Monday to do the work in coordination with the town staff. Next question is, what can be done about all the trash in the lake? Staff is planning to clean up some of the debris in the lake during the time that the lake is lowered for maintenance. Next question is, since the main park concession is now open, why are food trucks allowed in the park? As a result of the concessions agreement, staff has instituted a new policy that prevents food trucks from operating on Town of Hope Mills property unless it's tied to one of our events. There was an incident where food truck just popped up in Broward Park about 2 weeks ago. We didn't know anything about it. It wasn't tied to us. We did let them know they couldn't do that. So I want to reiterate that our concession stand is open 7 days a week. So if there are some games or some things at the park, we do have a pretty open menu: tacos, hot dogs, hamburgers, and things of that nature. And we encourage our community to use that concession stand. When is the town going to finally put an amphitheater on the golf course for summer events? The amphitheater is part of the overall master plan design for the future development of the park. However, any permanent features developed at the golf course will trigger full requirements of streets, parking lot, and infrastructure installation. We're not at that stage yet, but we're exploring the feasibility of a summer concert series that allows us to use a temporary stage. So if you were able to attend the Trucks and Stuff event this weekend, we could do something like that, but we can't build anything permanent until we're ready to do all the infrastructure. What is the plan to address outdated, unclean bathrooms at the main park, which is out here? Staff intends to work with the Hope Mills Rockfish on the upkeep in the bathrooms at the park. I know they painted them. That's some kind of upkeep, but we'll actually work with them to make sure that they're kept in a clean condition. The porta potties will make sure those are maintained as well. What can be done to address the four-wheelers and vehicles as such on the roadways? The town has a no chase policy that if the danger of the chase exceeds the reason for the chase, then our officers actually have to stand down. These vehicles are not permitted on town roadways, but our officers will continue to enforce these regulations in the safest way possible. The next question associated with the same subject: who will be responsible for death, injury, or damage to property resulting in these individuals being permitted to drive on Hope Mill streets? I will reiterate again, these are not permitted vehicles, but four-wheelers and dirt bikes, they're not permitted on town roads, but the public duty doctrine prevents the town from being held liable for criminal acts of a third party based on a theory that we didn't uphold the law or that we didn't intervene to stop them from committing a crime. Town of Hope Mills will not be responsible for any typical accident tied to four-wheelers or dirt bikes. Next question: is it legal for the police to disregard four-wheelers driving on town roads? As stated earlier, the Town of Hope Mills has a no chase policy tied to the chase being in excess of the reason for it. The town is more likely to be sued in the event that there's an injury as a result of a police chase. It is not illegal if the Hope Mills PD aren't able to actually make one of these stops. It's very challenging because you're dealing with a four-wheeler that doesn't have to be registered with a tag. They're off-road, and so it's sometimes challenging, but that's something that we're working through with our police department. Next question: why can't the town block off entrances to these paths for four-wheelers? It would be challenging because most of these paths are on private property. We would not have the authority to do that. Next subject: how many public requests does the town get each month? There's no set amount of requests. There are some months where we don't get any requests at all. There was a question about the cost. Typically, if there is a cost, it's associated where if that request is very large and there's a significant amount of paper that we have to run out, we may charge for that. But typically, there are no charges associated. If there is a request that's tied to a data dump that we have to give is very large, we'll ask that resident to come in and bring a flash drive, and we'll store it in that way. But there's typically no cost associated with open records requests. How long does it take to get the information out? The general statute tied to open records requests indicate that the information must be provided in a reasonable amount of time, but it does not specify a certain time frame. Our common practice is to get it out as soon as possible, as soon as we can obtain the information. Next subject was the dam inspected in January of this year. The town did not do an inspection of the dam in January. However, lowering the dam in January kills off some of the waterborne plants as it increases the oxygen level in the water, and it keeps the edges of the lake from being overgrown with vegetation. It was also publicized that this is also the time period that the town lowers the lake for the lake residents to do repairs to their own individual piers. Next question tied to the dam: why wasn't the board given a copy of the dam inspection report? If inspected as told, staff does not typically provide a copy of the report to the board, but can upon request. I do have them. I don't have a problem sharing that if the board so chooses to want to review it. What was found to be wrong? There were no major discrepancies found, and I want to commend our public works staff, because the reason why this dam continues to get awards every year is because of this routine maintenance that they do on a regular basis. Why was it told that the dam was lowered 1 foot and then lowered 4 to 5 feet? A lot of times you have to be careful because you're dealing with precipitation, you're dealing with the entire watershed in this area. And so that does factor into it kind of being lowered a little bit more, but the level of decrease did not create any negative impacts to the lake. Was it inspected today? No, it was not, but number 1 and number 2 walls would need to be dry. But staff is lowered now to do that inspection. That's what they're doing now with Snobble. Next question: when are the holes going to be filled at the kayak launching pad? The holes will be filled as part of routine maintenance. Staff has scheduled a work order to complete this, but we want to make sure that the signage is more visible, because this is not an area that is allowed for kids. So it is a restricted area, so we'll do more to police that. But I think somebody was asking about why kids are doing that. They're not supposed to be in that area, but we are actually putting in a work order to fix those holes. Next question: when are field numbers going to be moved from inside the fences to outside the gate so people can find the gate? They're putting the work order in to complete that work as well. And the final question is, when is the historic sign going to be replaced? We're actually working with Ms. Bregman now. We're trying to get him to get us the invoices so we can take it through the proper channels. They wanted to know why we're buying 2 and we only need 1. We're buying 2 because the last one was stolen, and we're buying 2 just so if something else happens, we got a replacement. That's really the only other reason. There are not 2 locations, but I don't want to get burned again, so we're just going to go ahead and get 2 of them this time. That does conclude all of the questions that were directed to staff. I'd like to open up the floor to any questions that you may have on any of the feedback that I was able to provide.
Board member have any feedback?
Just, are the fish all right? They're responding, the ducks, they're laying eggs?
Yes, I haven't. I haven't received, and Donna and I talked about this. I haven't received any information that, because you got to realize that's a lot of water, and so even though we lowered it, it's never been an issue. And this is routine. We do this about twice a year. It's never been an issue where the fish or the wildlife in the lake were negatively impacted.
As a kayaker, so when I went out to the kayak launch, I did see children out there digging, and I told them, it's unsafe for them to be there because my kayak is mighty heavy, and I told them you might want to watch out. Please don't dig there. When we get the attendants out there, will they be able to police that out?
That's ultimately what their role is, and so that's why I said it's not anything we have to do. It's already signage out there. We just got to police them a little bit more aggressively.
Yeah, it was no big issue. I mean, it wasn't like when I went out there, there weren't sizable holes that were gonna break my ankles or anything.
Okay, anything else?
That concludes my manager's report. Thank you.
Before we get into board member comments, I saw Dennis Bregner at one of the events about a week ago. And one of the reasons why he's doing those two signs, besides what you said, Chancellor, is because there's new material now. And the material's different than the original signs that were down here. And he feels very, very strongly the very same way, that since one sign has been stolen, and then probably perhaps we replace that one and have another one on hold standby in case we need it, or if we want to put it in another location. But he's more than willing to replace the signs, and he was very, very thankful that we gave him the opportunity to do that. Finally, that long list of questions that Chancellor read from were a combination of questions over the last couple of weeks that a lot of them have come from citizens. And we encourage citizens to direct their questions directly to our town manager, who will then in turn get the answers from town staff.
Yes.
So I will continue to ask for that. A lot of those questions, they came from me because they're the ones that I heard from citizens. No matter how many times I have asked them, please email the town manager. You can get your answers one-on-one. But some just either don't want to do it or don't want to take the time to do it. And so I strongly encourage again that before our board meeting, that if there's any citizens that have any questions, please send them to the town manager. We will answer them either one-on-one, or we will answer them like we did tonight during the manager's report. It's just that simple. Board comments, I'll start with Commissioner Legg.
I want to thank everyone who came out here tonight. I see some of our committees are here. Good to see you out working. Get big paid for that, don't you? Congratulations to our new fire chief. I guess you've been here long enough to know what's going on. So it's not an easy road when you take over a new position, but he knows what's coming and he knows how to handle it. I'd like to thank the staff for all their hard work. I'm starting to wonder about an agenda. I said, whoa, but it finally came. Good to see the board here as a whole tonight. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Commissioner Legg. Commissioner Craven.
I just want to congratulate our new fire chief and welcome aboard. Of course, you've already been on board, but welcome to your new position. To let y'all know, and I'm so happy that you have come. The last few weeks have been a busy 2 weeks. I know for me, and I'm sure it has for the rest of the board too. And it seems to get busier and busier. So, but if there's anything that you need from us, we're always here to help you. And thank you for coming.
Thank you, Commissioner Craven. Commissioner Marley.
Don't really have anything, Mayor. Just like to congratulate Chief King. Had the pleasure of working alongside Matt for a long time at the fire department. So congratulations, Mayor. That's all I have.
Thank you, Commissioner Marley. Commissioner Squirrel.
Thank you, Mayor. Also, congratulations to our new fire chief. Expect good things. I think they're going to do an excellent job. So for the week prior, myself, Commissioner Legg, Mayor Pro Tem, and myself and the town manager had went to Winston-Salem for the City Vision with North Carolina League of Municipalities, and it was a great conference. I was surprised you didn't bring it up in your manager's report, but there's so much information that we got from that too.
My breakdown is in the manager's report. I knew I wanted to concentrate more on the questions that I answered, but I encourage people, we'll have the PDF of the manager's report on our website tomorrow. It did break down the sessions that I attended, but the important portion, there's some really, really useful information.
And it was a really, really great conference. There was breakout sessions where we were able to attend, and one of the ones that I got a lot of good information from. Let me just find what the actual name of it was called. It was called Municipal Case Study. There we go. Communication and Citizen Engagement in Louisville. And it was given by the mayor of Louisville, and they had their essentially PR person, and they gave this really great class. And one of their issues, and I know it's a noticeable issue with our town, is getting information out to citizens, and the town manager's report does a lot of that stuff. Their town was about the same size as Hope Mills. They were around 14,000, so a little bit smaller, but they were having issues with citizen engagement. And they've been trying different avenues of approach, and I thought they had some really great ideas. Like, this was their actual handout that they have made, and they gave us all a copy, and it was really, really good. Now, granted, they had a paid position for it, but they were doing this monthly. Now, they also may have gotten a little bit better budget. We may not be able to do this kind of thing, but it was a lot of good information. They also were doing for any traffic alerts, power outages, water outages. They also did a mass text messaging system. And I asked the question, I was like, okay, your town has about 14,000 citizens. How much, how engaged are your citizens? How many get the information? Out of 14,000, 8,500 of their citizens get their information from the newsletter. So I'm gonna engage more with the town manager and see if there's different options that we can try to get information out in different avenues of approach, because like he answered all those questions. I think if we have something, even if it's like, hey, there's a water main break, send out a mass text message. There's different ways to try to engage us. So that was one of the big takeaways I took from that the conference. But there was so much other stuff. There was so much information. We got to see the actual people that write the grants for our town. They were there, grant opportunities, and there's so much stuff that you learn from those conferences. But I think that was about it. That was, I know Mayor Pro Tem may have some, because the way we broke it up is we all tried to split up and take different classes to see if we can get the maximum amount of information. But it was really, really good.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Scarola. Mayor Pro Tem Dr. Kim-Wanda McCray.
I would just like to also congratulate the new fire chief, and I guess if I'll highlight what Commissioner Scarola and what Town Manager McLaughlin did not put in his report about City Vision, but I attended one about artificial intelligence and local government. And of course, there's a lot of opportunities that artificial intelligence has for local government, but also knowing the, because I mess around with AI for a couple of things, but also looking at the risk, because if you are using it to put anything confidential about your town or reports or things that you, or maybe you're using to draft a letter and you're putting people's names in there, then it is no longer protected. And that is the reason why it is free for the most part. Most of the programs are free. So that was very interesting, but then also leveraging and looking at how local government, how we could use AI to our advantage. And I especially enjoyed one of the sessions about attracting tomorrow's talent with today's leaders. And what I really like about that is I really like listening to sessions like that anyway. So for instance, we have about 3 generations here on this board, and we all have to work together. And because of the different generations or how you were born and where you were raised, different things motivate us. And so you have all these different people, as you do with your town staff, and all these different generations, and you're all on one project, but your thought process may be different. And so I always like to hear and learn about different strategies and tips for that as well. And then, of course, I went to one about the Main Street program, which I do hope one day in Hope Mills we're able to do something more with that. But other than that, I think that's all that I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem Dr. McCray. Again, I'd like to congratulate Chief Matt Kane and his family for the new position as fire chief in our firehouse and all the firefighters that came over to attend. I'd also like to extend a thank you to someone that was behind this process that just started her new position. And when she first started the position, this is what she had on her desk as an incoming task, and that would be our HR director. She's sitting right over Leanne. So she was behind the scenes working this process for this selection for a very, very important position in our town, which is fire chief, along with all the other important positions that our staff holds in the town. So I want to commend her for a job well done of hitting that at the ground running as she came in. We've got an event this week on Thursday. I'm just going to talk about it during official comments and I'm just going to do that. I think that's probably the way I need to do it. There's a ribbon cutting this week for our Hope Mills Rockfish baseball team. It's at 2 o'clock. It's in the park this week. There's been some discussion, spirited discussion, maybe that's the better way to say, over this ribbon cutting on Thursday. I spoke with the general manager, Melissa and Ben Marsh, today, and I'm going to make a couple statements to try and clear the record, make sure that we've got it right. The date chosen on Thursday was not about the team. It wasn't about the chamber. It was all about the owners of the team. This was the only day and the only time of that day that they could be here for a ribbon cutting of the baseball team. As you know, the park's not finished. Their opening game is May 25th, but there was no way that the owners could be here any other day this month but this Thursday. They didn't know about the golf tournament, and even if they had known about the golf tournament, they still would have had to do the ribbon cutting on Thursday at 2 o'clock. So I kind of just wanted to clear the air about that event. And it had nothing to do with anybody else. It had all to do with the availability of the owners of that team. Also, in the last couple of weeks, we've had a large amount of crowds of folks in the community, starting with opening day baseball, National Day of Prayer. Again, the largest crowd we've had in years. Trucks and stuff. Was that a big event down on the former golf course? That's where that question came from. See, Lamarco, when you hold these big events, you and Megan, when y'all do these big events, you get people that want to say, we need some music and some bands, and what about getting some type of temporary stage and move in and some kind of music once a month? You get people thinking and talking and strategizing and wanting to more out of the community and more of the offerings, and those where those questions come from, because it was such a home run event. The produce drive was a big event too. I think 400 and some, I think, Chancellor, on that.
I think we had 456 cars.
That is amazing. 456 cars in our community. These events are all community driven, and it represents who we are as a community. And I mean who we are. We've got some more events coming up this month. We know toward the end of the month, our annual Memorial Day ceremony will be in the park. I also wanted to highlight on something else tomorrow. There's been a lot of talk over the past couple of weeks about special events. Well, I'm going to encourage people to attend the Joint Events Committee and Commission tomorrow at 6 p.m. at the Parks and Rec building. Have a voice and come and express that at the committee. Be part of the conversation. That's all I'm asking. Be part of the conversation. Because collectively as one community, we need to have that collaboration of what is it that everyone would like to see over the next year with our Parks and Rec program that is growing. They are extremely professional. And they'll be briefing us tonight, a little bit later, on July 4th fireworks. And I've got something to add to that when we get to that point that I learned about at Fort Liberty, and that was just Friday. And I'll share a little bit of that when I get there. Other than that, that's all I have. I'm going to go into presentations.
Mr. Mayor, ma'am.
Yes, Commissioner Lick.
I'd like for us to start thinking about building a wing on this building, maybe toward the rec center. We have people doing work out of storage closets now. We have people doing work in the lobby. So, I know we've got a lot of expense, but we put that in line with the rest of them. I just think we need a wing. At one time, I didn't think that because there was, when this building was built, there was supposed to be 6 offices set aside for the board and the mayor. Well, we've outgrown that. We don't have an empty office. All we have is, like I said, people working in the lobby and in the storage rooms. But I think if we're going to be a big town, which I don't want to see happen, but we're going to have to do it in a big boy way. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Lane. Just so you know, what he's talking about is true because our HR director is working out of the mayor's office because of the lack of space. It's the right office for her to work out of. I forgot one, Chief Kane. Your fire department going out into the community like you did at Firehouse Subs, a big home run for the community. Eggs Up Grill would like you to come down there and share some time with them. Stephanie wanted me to pass that on to you, and I have done that tonight, sir. Okay, any other comments from the board? We'll go into the presentations. Okay, first one up, proclamation, National Police Week, May 12th through May 18th, 2024, to recognize National Police Week 2024 and honor the service and sacrifice of those police officers killed in the line of duty while protecting their communities and safeguarding our democracy. Whereas the Congress and the President of the United States have designated May 15th as Peace Officers Memorial Day and the week in which it falls to Police Week. Whereas the International Association of Chiefs of Police has declared police officer safety and wellness a top priority, and the IACP Center for Officer Safety and Wellness promotes the importance of individual, agency, family, and community safety and wellness awareness. And whereas the members of the Police Department of the Town of Hope Mills play an essential role in safeguarding the rights and freedoms of the citizens of our community. And whereas it is important that all citizens know and understand the problems, duties, and responsibilities of their police department, and that members of our police department recognize their duty to serve the people by safeguarding life and property, by protecting them against violence or disorder, and by protecting the innocent against deception and the weak against oppression and intimidation. And whereas the men and women of the police department of the Town of Hope Mills undoubtedly provide a vital public service. Now, therefore, I, Mayor Jesse Bellflowers, call upon all citizens of the Town of Hope Mills and upon all patriotic, civil, educational organizations to observe the week of May 12th, May 18th, 2024 as Police Week with appropriate ceremonies and observances in which our community may join in commemorating police officers past and present who by their faithful and loyal devotion to their responsibilities have rendered a dedicated service to the communities, and in doing so have established for themselves a valuable and enduring reputation for preserving the rights and security of all citizens. I further call upon all citizens of Town of Hope Mills to observe May 15th, 2024 as Peace Officers Memorial Day to honor those police officers who, through their courageous deeds, have lost their lives or have been disabled in the performance of duty. set upon this day, May 6, 2024. I have to pause a minute because of reflection of the officers from Charlotte a few weeks ago. Thank you. I just had to pause a minute. Next one is proclamation of the 55th Annual Professional Municipal Clerks Week, May 5th through May 11th, 2024. Before I read this, we have two exceptional municipal clerks in this room tonight, and there are folks sitting right over there. Now, actually, I can read it. Whereas the office of the professional and municipal clerk, a time-honored and valuable part of local government, exists throughout the world, and whereas the office of the professional municipal clerk is the oldest among public servants and is one of few statutory obligated positions any incorporated municipality must have, and whereas the office of the professional municipal clerk provides the professional link between the citizens, the local governing bodies, and agencies of government at all levels, and whereas the professional municipal clerk serves as the information center on functions of local government and community, and whereas professional municipal clerks continually strive to improve the administration of the affairs of the office of the professional municipal clerk through participation in educational programs, seminars, workshops, and the annual meetings of their state, province, county, and international professional organization, and whereas it most appropriate that we recognize the accomplishments of the office of the professional municipal clerk. Now, therefore, I, Jesse Bellflowers, Mayor of Town of Hope Mills, do recognize the week of May 5th through May 11th as Professional Municipal Clerks Week, and further extend appreciation to all professional municipal clerks for the vital services they perform and exemplary dedication to the communities they represent. Proclaimed the 6th day of May 2024. Two long ones. Next up on the presentation, we have members from what I call the home team. As everyone knows, I, along with Mayor Pro Tem Dr. McCray, we work for Fayetteville Technical Community College, and we are proud tonight to have some interns that are from our college that work with the Mid-Carolina COG, and they have a presentation that you'll see on the screen about cyber assessment team. And I will ask Scott Matash if he will bring his team forward and give us a presentation.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, board members, Mr. Manager, and citizens of Hope Mills. It is a joy to be with you. And in higher education, there's nothing better than to see your students thriving at what they do. And tonight you have four of our best: Travis Smith, Charlotte Fisk, Damon Hall, and Noah Dudley, who are here to share with you what they can offer to the town of Hope Mills and to other municipalities around Cumberland County and the surrounding areas as newly trained cyber security experts. So take it away, team.
Thank you. Thank you for this opportunity, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, Commissioners. It's an honor to be speaking with you today. My name is Travis Smith, as he just explained to you. I've been a student with FTCC for about 2 years. In this upcoming summer, I will be graduating with an associate's degree in cybersecurity. Amazing opportunity. I've had the pleasure to work here with the Mid-Carolina Council of Government. Today, I'd love to go over with you what it is, what we are, who we are, and why you should pay attention to us. We're joined today by Mr. Hall and Ms. Fisk to present other parts of the presentation. Here's the agenda we have for today. Feel free to take a look at it. And I'll allow Mr. Hall to take away to explain what we are. Hello, everyone. My name is Damon Hall. I've been going to FTCC for about 3 years now, and 2 of that was through High School Connections. I'm a young one out here. The goal of this cybersecurity assessment team is to work in partnership with the local municipalities of the area, FTCC, CCM, and the Mid-Carolina Council of Governments to provide a free cybersecurity assessment for local municipalities. During these assessments, a team of us will go on site to whichever municipality we are conducting this security exam for. And afterwards, we will drop a report of our findings. There's an example of what that looks like in the folders we handed out earlier. I think it's on the second page. And we will present that to the local leaders of the respective municipality that we're in. With this knowledge that we're providing local municipalities, they can increase their security posture and have peace of mind knowing that their systems are more secure. And I'll hand it off to Charlotte to talk to you more about the benefits of this program.
Hello, I'm Charlotte. I have been attending FTCC for 2 years now. Keep yourself busy. I am the Cybersecurity Club president. I am the National Cybersecurity League captain, and I'm also the vice president of leadership for the Phi Theta Kappa Honor Society. I'm a pretty busy president. So one of the major benefits of our internship is that we are going to enhance the security postures of local governments by assessing physical and digital security. That includes who has access to your system and who doesn't have access, if there's too much information being leaked out or not, and how strong are your passwords. Passwords are bare minimum and are actually just the most important part of cybersecurity. Through that, we're going to also recommend tools and programs for personal training, and it's very important for everyone to understand what cybersecurity is. There's no getting away from it. Digital is taken over, and that's what it is. And such things as spotting phishing emails. Phishing emails are the easiest way to get into systems. People fall for them all the time, and they will get into your system. So that is one of the biggest things that we want to do, and a benefit for yourself. Another benefit is that students will help learn to communicate with their teams, such as us, and also to help communicate with you, which is a major part of the job field as well. It is imperative that we need these to help mitigate our threats within the community. Students will also learn hand-on skills while conducting these soft threat assessments that we use for future employment. Within this internship, students will become proficient in both hard skills such as technical writing and analysis of systems that can help build stronger security postures within the government. These hard and soft skills required with the internships will help future employment as well. There is a huge gap within North Carolina of cybersecurity that weakens both local and state governments, which is very important. Again, and this will help fill the gaps, and I'm going to pass that to Chance.
Thank you, Charlotte. Thank you, Mr. Hahn. You both did a wonderful job. The future of this program looks great. We want to reiterate that this program is very scalable, meaning that no matter the student body size for the institution that we're working with, no matter what resources they're working with, we want this to be plug and play, because we don't want this to just stop with FTCC. We want this to be something network-wide across the state, because not only is Fayetteville and Hope Mills important, but every other municipality in this state. We want it to be replicable across everyone within the CCN, and it's huge to reiterate the emphasis of cybersecurity awareness. It's been stated around 2022, a study has been conducted that cybercrime was responsible for $10 billion across the nation worth of damage. A huge number, taking money out of hard-working people's pockets that could be reinstated back into the economy. If we could even just capture a sliver of that, we would be able to bring it back to the hard-working people. And that's what we're all about. In conclusion, this program is grant funded. That means that this cybersecurity assessment, first and foremost, is free. It doesn't cost a government anything. It doesn't cost an institution anything to implement this. It also means that we're a student initiative. First and foremost, we want to get our cybersecurity upcoming professionals trained. We want them to get institutionalized into what cybersecurity is, why it's important, get them hardworking experience to bring them out into the field, to get them jobs, to get them helping our local community. It's an imperative opportunity. And we're first and foremost about the community. We want to help our community grow. We want us to be stronger. We want us to be more secure. and to keep us safe and contained from cyber threats. Any further questions?
Okay, board, any questions?
That was a very, very great presentation. For half of my military career, I was communications, so we dealt with cybersecurity and all that other fun stuff. And it's funny you mentioned phishing, because I don't know how many times we as a board will get, like, I'll get random emails from the mayor, but it's not the mayor, it's a phishing attempt, and it's ridiculous. So this is definitely a program to look into. So very, very good information.
Thank you. I appreciate the comment.
Any other comments from board members? No? Nothing else?
Thank you all for this wondrous opportunity. We want to thank you on behalf of CCN, the FTCC, Mid-Carolina Council of Government. It's been an amazing opportunity to speak with you all today.
Travis, an excellent presentation.
Thank you.
You're spot on with it. We have 9 municipalities in Cumberland County. I'm sure that all 9 will benefit from your assessment. And I would like to ask the board if we have a consensus to direct the town manager to schedule an assessment meeting with your team.
That would be an honor.
Is that good? Consensus of the board is good? Commissioner Marley, you good? Okay, so there it is. So you'll have the opportunity, and he'll get with you, Scott, or myself, or the Mayor Pro Tem, and we'll schedule that meeting where you guys can come in and give us a nice assessment. I'm kind of interested in seeing what the results would look like. Because I think Commissioner Craver got an email from me the other day. She said, she calls me on the phone. She said, did you send me a text message just now to call you back in the moment?
Yeah, this moment, but that wasn't the worst one. The worst one, I got, we used our email at the time, that to go buy him 2 $400 gift certificates for, what was it? It was for something. Well, I couldn't get up with Jesse, but I figured, you know, he goes out and does things, and he might have wanted for his but I didn't have time to go do it. So here I go out, and I buy him two cards. The next thing I knew, the guy came back out there and said, I need a copy of the receipt, and also I need this, that. Well, I didn't send it back through the town. I sent it through our text. And that's what saved me, because they couldn't get it. And of course, the bank gave me back my money and everything. But I mean, how would I have known getting something from the mayor to say, I need this? He may have needed it. And I was just trying to be a good little commissioner.
And it wasn't even Father's Day.
That's super imperative. That's an simple word. I'm sorry.
No, I mean, it's things like that. I don't know how they get through our, you know, our emails and things through the town.
And that's an imperative mission with us at the CCN. We want to make sure that even top level security issues such as that is trained within staff. So if we are to work with the town of Hope Mills now, we would be making sure that top level security, password complexity, phishing, email training, surface things are the easiest to take care of. That would be a quick implemental fix. We have training that we want to develop with the town of Hope Mills. That would be an honor to work with you. That would be an honor to work with Mayor, with all commissioners to collaborate, make this happen.
Thank you, Travis. Did you give a red folder to our town manager?
We will have one.
If he needs one, I'll give him mine. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Before you go, there's one other thing I just wanted to say, that out of all the locations in North Carolina several weeks ago, Fayetteville Technical Community College was the host of the National Carolina Cyber Network Conference on our campus for 2 days. And I was there. I was part of it. Mayor Pro Tem Dr. Craig was part of it. You guys presented to us and the campus staff during that time, and that is what propelled you guys to be here tonight. And I know that your service is definitely going to be welcome on 9 municipalities. So I just wanted to say that. Thank you again for coming.
Thank you.
Next up, the heavy lift. I will say, as you can see, it is that time. It is that time again of the year where we are given the proposed budget, and every year this book seems to weigh more. I'm not sure why that is. I mean, is there a bunch of blank paper in here? Did you just stick a ream of blank paper in here, Drew? But we have the fiscal year 24-25 budget presentation, and that will go to Chancellor and Drew.
Ultimately, we won't be necessarily presenting tonight. I want to read a small passage in the message. It reads, the town of Hope Mills continues to be a great place to live, work, and play. Our team strives to maintain a positive balance of commercial and residential growth to enhance the town's ability to improve services and provide our citizens with a strong investment in the town's future. And so ultimately what Drew and I need from you tonight is for you to set the date of the budget workshop. That budget workshop would typically be 5:30 on the 26th or the 20th, which is the next board meeting. And so tonight he's providing you with the budget book. Once you set the budget workshop date, it will give you an opportunity to look through this, comb through it, and ask us any questions that you may have. And so the goal is for you to bombard us with every question that you may have between now and the actual budget workshop. But we're providing you with the budget book this evening. And like I said, the request tonight is to request the setting of the actual budget workshop.
Okay. All right.
I will point out that town clerk did let us know the budget hearing is already set for June 3rd.
What are the recommended dates for the workshop?
Recommended dates would be May 20th, which is the next board meeting at 5:30, so we can have the work session prior to the 7 o'clock regular board meeting.
Okay. Okay, is consensus of the board to hold a workshop on May 20th at 5:30 before the regular meeting, or do we want to hold a separate workshop just for the budget? We have an option to go either way. We can have just a regular separate meeting as a workshop, or we can do it before the next board meeting on May 20th. What is the desire of the board? You're gonna be gone the whole week.
I'll be gone May 19th to June 1st. However, I'm not gonna hold the rest of the board up, and I will go through and I will send any questions that I have via email.
Okay. So what's the desire of the board? Separate meeting or May 20th? May 20th, Commissioner Marlin?
You gotta be here anyway.
Okay. May 20th, or how about 5:30? Is an hour and a half enough time, or do we need more time? Is 5:30 enough time? It's an hour and a half, or you want to kick it off at 5? Yep. Just asking the board.
Yeah.
Let's go with 5. All right. Consensus of the board, the chancellor, is May 20th. We're going to kick it off at 5, Drew. Okay. Now, here's what I'm going to ask the board to do. In past years, when I served as commissioner on the board, when I went through this book, a lot lighter than this one, I would send questions directly to Chancellor and to Drew before the workshop. And I'm going to strongly encourage that each board member do the very same thing. So we're not here for 3 or 4 hours. Go through the book. If you have any questions, please send them in, and Chancellor and Drew will address what your questions are. It worked well for me. I think it worked well for the last board. I mean, former Commissioner Greeley Mitchell is shaking his head, so I know it did. And let's use this workshop as a good collaborative session to really look at a budget that is the largest proposed budget in the history of our town. It is $18,394,000 budget. It's the largest in the history of our town. That's how big this thing is. It's a lot of money. So, with that said, Drew, you have anything?
I was just going to tell you what you have in your book. Some of you are new to the board, and I'm just going to tell you that in your book, this section here, before you get to the tabs, that's the actual budget document. So you'll have the, there's an introductory section, there's the budget message, then you have the general fund, then you have Powell bill and stormwater funds, then you have the payroll schedule, and then you have the fee schedule after that. Oh, and also the capital items requested. Then each tab is a different department. So as you're going through it, each tab, like tab number 1 is revenues, tab number 2 is debt, 3 is admin, 4 is HR, 5 is finance, that sort of thing. So each tab is a different department that we have. So if you have any questions about the book or the budget itself, let me know. But if you do have questions, as the mayor said, prior to the meeting on the 20th, send those to myself and the manager, and that way we can be prepared for the workshop that we have, and hopefully it won't take as long. So any other questions that y'all have?
Any questions? Thank you, Drew, for
And
preparing.
this will be on the website tomorrow, the proposed budget, not the entire book, just that first section, which is the actual budget itself. And then there'll be a public copy here in the council chambers. So
I encourage citizens to look at the budget that's going to be on the website tomorrow. And if citizens have questions about the proposed budget, please email either the board members or Chancellor and Drew. It's not our budget. It's not Drew's budget either. It's our budget. And our means everybody, every citizen in the town of Hope Mills. And that's the way we're looking at it. It's our budget. Okay, moving on to item E, 2024 4th of July celebration overview. That goes back to Chancellor and Lamarco. And I think Megan's probably going to be part of that too.
It's a collaborative between my department and the fire department. I think the police might chime in a little bit because it involves all of those departments and then some other variables. But that's basically what I want to say in the executive summary before I have staff come up. That you know, and what's not covered in this presentation that you're going to get is the amount of time that we spend. I know more about pyrotechnics than I care to know about it because I spent 3 days myself doing research before I passed it on to staff because I was a little frustrated with the amount of work. And the deeper I got into the research, the more we found out just how much it goes into it. So it's a lot more than just choosing a date, which is difficult in itself of getting on 4th of July. But it also involves coordination with the fire department, police department. It also, in changing the date, it also involves with perhaps trying to see if we have maintenance staff that might have had that day off, they may have to come in and change the date. And so a lot of research went into it. I want to say easy, 2 weeks and a whole bunch of staff hours. And another part that I want to also reiterate that, you know, we went through a process last year where we did a survey, got input from the citizens, and we implemented those recommendations based on the survey and came up with the date. And the board at the time voted on that date. And we purposely did it that way because we did not want to be a surprise to anybody about what we were doing, when we were going to do it. And we intend to do the same thing this year, you know, come to you all with the options. And so With that, I have staff come up and do the presentation, and we'll take any questions you might have afterwards.
Good evening, Mayor, Board of Commissioners. Like Lamargo said, we have spent a good amount of time researching. I think we're all fairly knowledgeable now in pyrotechnics and the classification of fireworks, and explosives, and all sorts of stuff. We've had conversations with our fire department, with Fire Marshal Carter, North Carolina State Fire Marshal's Office, ATF, federal level things, our pyrotechnic company. So what we wanted to do was just kind of go through, since I've been here, and kind of how the logistics that go into our July 4th, specifically fireworks. It's very intricate, very detailed, and there's kind of a process that we have to follow. So just as an overview, this is what we'll talk about. I know that some questions had come up about having it on July 4th, when the last time we had it on July 4th was. So in 2018, it was on July 4th. It was July 4th, and then 2019, the bottom fell out in the middle of it, and that was when we rescheduled with Music in the Park, with a DJ and a couple of the vendors came back out. 2020, COVID, 2021, there was nothing. 2021, we had fireworks only, which that decision was made in April, with the board's vote. But because it fell on a Sunday, it was decided to do it on a Saturday. That decision made us not be on July 4th with our pyrotechnic company. Pyrotechnic company we've been using before 2008. Joel Matthews has been our contact. He's still our contact. He's been with a company as they've been bought out by multiple other companies. He actually was one of the ones that was around when we were shooting off at the lake. So he kind of knows the history of it, but because that we decided to do it on a different date from July 4th and do it on July 3rd, we lost our spot as a July 4th customer. They have returning customers year after year after year. It's not about being able to do it. It's not about supply. It's about the licensed pyrotechnic teams that they have. Which are very limited. There's not that many of them. So that's just kind of the nature of the beast. Moving forward, we've had them on July 2nd, July 1st, and then this year will be June 29th with a parade on the July 4th. So that's just kind of the history of the dates that we've had them. And this is where the rabbit hole began with the firework information gathering. So the pyrotechnic company that we have, Pyro Shows East Coast. Like I said, we've had them since 2008, if not prior. And they are a licensed pyrotechnic company. They handle all aspects of our firework display. It's turnkey. We have contract with them. We pay them. They come, they shoot them off, and with the help, obviously, of our fire department, our police department, emergency services. But as far as liability, insurance, transportation, storage, all of that, that is really 100% on them. And the classic fireworks, I know Marco had reached out to some other pyrotechnic companies when it came up just recently about having them on July 4th. But those companies could only certify us as 1.4 class fireworks, which is basically what you can buy over in South Carolina. North Carolina, which you still have to have certification to shoot those off because they're illegal in North Carolina. Basically, anything more than a sparkler and a snap pop and a rocket, bottle rocket are illegal in North Carolina. So just because we would, if that was worth the route we would go, we would be buying fireworks that you get from a neighborhood tent in South Carolina for 1.4 classification.
What we currently shoot off every year is 1.3G fireworks. Those are display fireworks and professional grade explosives. They're designed for large scale displays, such as public events or professional shows. They are ran by licensed pyrotechnicians. 1.4G class fireworks are consumer grade fireworks commonly available for purchase by the general public, just not North Carolina because they're legal in North Carolina. They are considered backyard celebration fireworks or smaller, so it's probably what you see your neighbors shooting off on July 4th. So that's the difference between 1.4 and 1.3. We looked into both. What we're used to and what we provide is 1.3.
And we pay Pyro Shows East Coast $14,000, which handles everything.
And we asked them what their average customer pays them on the board, and they said $25,000 a month is their average customer. We happen to get a deal with them because we've been so long, it's been $14,000 in the years.
Okay. For a 30-minute show.
Mayor. Okay.
Yes, Commissioner Martin.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, go ahead.
And I guess it's where my confusion lies, and I appreciate all the work staff's put into this. And I may be wrong, but it seems like the previous board has already settled this, and Parks and Rec sent out a survey. We got little to no feedback from the general public on it, asking this question. The previous board, minus one person on the board, is the same board. We've already decided this. We are going down a rabbit hole if you think that this town needs to be involved in fireworks and doing this ourselves. I don't see why we're even sitting here having this conversation. We do not need to get into the firework business. We need to let Parks and Rec staff do their thing. They've already handled this one time for the town, and we have wasted a lot of staff hours and time in going through this again. And I appreciate the work you put into it, I really do, but my confusion lies in we've already decided this, and now all of a sudden, we're looking at this again. So why are we here? That's what I want to know. Why are we here? Where did this come up with the board?
If I could say something, I never agreed to staff to go back down this rabbit hole either. I was Parks and Rec liaison the night that we discussed this. You also brought a calendar forth and said you were going to change a number of things for the upcoming year, which included the Easter event. I remember when you came and presented at this town, you sent out a survey. I never agreed for you all to go do this much research. I've been on this board for 4 years and I've never learned so much about fireworks before. It's not my business. We reaching into stuff that we don't have any business reaching into. I'm sorry that y'all wasted your time, but I want to know why we are hearing this again as well.
Let us finish. Okay. Continue on.
Okay, so it was brought up about, well, we're going to condense it a little bit. You have this, we'll send it to the town clerk if it's needed to be sent out or not. Basically, in order for us, for July 4th fireworks, it's not about the supplies, it's about the pyrotechnicians and all of that. So while we host our Independence Day fireworks on July 4th, we have to remain flexible, in alternative dates because they cannot guarantee, Fire Shows East Coast cannot guarantee us July 4th. They can't guarantee us July 4th next year now. They probably can't guarantee us July 4th in April of 2025, for 2025. It's just the nature of the beast that they have to be available. For us and our planning purposes for events, we have to have these dates ironed out in order to secure entertainment vendors, and our goal as event staff and event planners for town is to have that date set by Thanksgiving at the absolute latest. We start doing our contracts, we start securing bands, we start doing all these different things we need to have that date set. So if we don't have a date set as July 4th for fireworks, we won't know that. So that's just the nature of the beast. Now, if we don't do it on July 4th and we do it the weekend prior like we've been doing, we can get them. We can get them. They can supply out the team that weekend. And then based off the survey that we put out last summer, people wanted something on July 4th. We moved the parade to July 4th at 10 a.m. because it was too hot for people when we had them in the afternoon right before the celebration this past year. That was some of the feedback we got from the survey. So we've accommodated both. Not to mention emergency services, police, fire, staff time, their resources. It's just, that's the way, it's kind of how we all come to the conclusion it was voted on to move forward with. And so that's what we've done. But going down and trying to figure out how we could potentially secure July 4th would be town staff being certified, and that was when we started getting really into all the different layers and levels of what that would entail. Pyro shows, if we want to send town staff down there, you need to have one lead, you need to have 2 assistants minimum. That lead has to be, they have to go down to South Carolina. They would be employees of Pyro Shows the day of July 4th fireworks. But through all of our finding out what it would cost, what it would do, what it would require, it'd be a day-long class. Then they would have to take a test at the state fire marshal's office, as well as doing 3 shows themselves as acting as lead, underneath another lead operator. I spoke with Joel Matthews about this whole process, and he said a lot of people are interested in it. But once they go to the class and they go out and they have to work underneath it, they're out. I mean, this is, as you can see from the picture, this isn't a lighter with a bottle. This is, I mean, I don't even want to try to get into name what it is, but I mean, it's wires, it's hooked up to a control module. It is very intricate. And then there's the licensing exam, and then there's continuing to add with it. It's not just a one-time deal. So if we had town staff that we wanted to do that with, you have to have that lead person. So what if that one lead person that we've certified and has gotten the certification with the licensure no longer with the town, there's an emergency that day, whatever it may be, we can't shoot them off. Whether we have them or not, we can't shoot them off. And then the transportation of them. So that has to have, you have to have a commercial designation, which is a federal background clearance, test with the DMV.
Whole process, and then you have to talk about the storage of fireworks, and you have to have a magazine in order to store the fireworks. That's through the ATF. As far as I know, I don't think the town has any land where we can put a magazine, or we want to put a magazine over the closes. But it's something to have to think about if we were to take them. And again, if we had our staff do this, we would need a minimum of 3 people, probably more, and that's assuming that people are willing to volunteer to go through this. I personally wouldn't. Professionals have accidents and have lost their lives. There was no boat disaster not too long ago with a professional fire safety company. Accidents happen. I'm not willing to do it. I'm sure that emergency services have their thoughts on it. I'm sure that our town attorney has thoughts on it.
So those are some options. I know there was a question about town staff doing it, and that's, if we want to continue the par and the level of fireworks display that we have with the classification of fireworks that we have, that's what it will require.
And that's just sort of, that's what we've been able to figure out within the past 2 weeks. I know that there was a question of having the celebration on the 4th. That's why we're having the parade on the 4th. We're having a kickoff celebration on the 29th.
And also, just to throw that out there, we don't, for all of our town events, we do not do one town event on the actual holiday itself. Christmas,
In the beginning of December, Easter is not Easter.
Halloween's only on Halloween, except for Memorial Day and Veterans Day ceremonies. And we're actually the only parade around on July 4th. I think 4th Day might be doing something this year, first I've heard about it, but,
We'll just go out for that reason to it and just thinking that.
Fireworks belong to the professionals. I don't, for those of us who have served in the military, we know what fireworks are. We know. They belong to the professionals. They don't belong to anyone but certified, credentialed, experienced professionals. One of the biggest keys is the huge liability that if you don't fire them off that night, you got a storm somewhere. And that's a hidden piece of this. I want to share something that I learned before I asked the board comments. At the Mayor's Coalition on Friday, we just had this Friday at East Oak. The garrison commander, Colonel Wilcox, was there with the garrison command sergeant major, briefing the Mayor's Coalition on what the reservation is doing, Fort Liberty, on 4th of July. And they are taking a different turn. They are doing theirs on June 29th from 3 to 10. That happens to be a Saturday night. That's what they're doing. July 4th, we know, was on a Thursday. Based on the feedback from everyone that's on the reservation, that they're going to start doing this, that if 4th of July is not actually on a weekend, they're going to have it the Saturday prior. A lot of families understand that the concerts, especially the one this year, bands are much cheaper. The fireworks professionals are more available, and they are cheaper as well. And families want to enjoy the 4th of July in their municipalities or going out of state to different homes. So that was the feedback from the garrison commander on Friday about the new direction or the direction that Fort Liberty is going to go in. They're not tied to 1 July 4th. That would be nice because every day is July 4th to me, just like every day is Veterans Day and every day is Memorial Day. But we have to be safety conscious about when we do it and where we do it. So to hear that information from Fort Liberty about the direction they're going in, it appears that the direction that our town is going in, that was approved by the board last year, is in line with exactly what Fort Liberty is doing this year. And I wanted to share that with you. I haven't shared that with anybody. The Chancellor was there. He heard the same announcement I heard, the Mayor's Coalition. And I thought it was kind of moving that they're doing it that way.
Mr. Mayor, would it be possible to hear from the fire chief or the fire marshal on this subject? Or both of them? Yes, sir. Want to get your opinion on what's the safest and best way to pull this off.
Leave it as is.
Leave it as it is.
I spoke to the Office of State Fire Marshal, got their feedback, passed it on to the Parks and Rec staff. I spoke to ATF. Since last Monday, when we started looking into this, as far as I started looking into it, I could not get them here to be able to answer questions for you. but they did not encourage it. It was in 2009, if I'm not mistaken, with the Okakoke incident. The pyrotechnic company that was there had an explosion that afternoon prepared, and those tubes that were in that slide that was up there, when those people come in with the fireworks in the trailer, we escort them into the ball field area. We have a fire truck standing by there. We inspect the tubes along with the team to make sure they're empty, that there's nothing left. We inspect them after they load them, then we inspect them again after they have fired the rounds off. And it took about 40 seconds, or about 10 seconds, if I'm not mistaken, for that 40-minute pyrotechnic show that exploded at Okakoke to go off. The businesses in the area near where they were setting up said it sounded like a jet had hit the building, and that it shook so violently. So, I mean, it's just, I don't think it's a very good idea to entertain from the fire side.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
I also think we ought to leave it towards that.
Where it is where it is. Okay. Any other comments, questions?
I'd like to chime in just quickly, and I want to take the time to commend our staff. I think a lot of people do not realize just how much time goes into putting these events on. If you're talking about 10 food trucks, couple bands, rock climbing, each one of these entities is a company that someone has to call. If you get 10 food trucks, that's great. You probably call 40. And each one of these is a contract, is a relationship. And that's one event where you may have had 6 months of time to secure these deals for one event. And I will say that these events are flawlessly executed. They're great. They're very well attended. They're really, really nice events. We're in the middle of the season that was approved by the board. I attended Trucks and Stuff Saturday after we did the produce. I was there for 2 hours playing my little girl, and we get to just come enjoy it. They're there working at these events. I think I remember seeing Megan at the nighttime Christmas parade, which I had never seen a day in my life. It was the most amazing thing. I'm gearing up to take my daughter away. She's walking to Cameron Street, I think, from here. And so I think we need to let them do the job that they do at very well. I think we need to continue to let them do their job. And so I hear what you guys are saying about the time that they really had to put into putting this presentation together. I'm just simply saying, I just want to take this time to say thank you to our staff because they do a lot of work for this town. And sometimes they need to hear that they appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you, Chancellor. Before we move on to public comments, for all the municipalities that are watching our board meeting tonight on YouTube, I want to say that if you need some research about fireworks, you're at the right place, because we've got the experienced, now trained, credentialed staff that put together a professional PowerPoint slide that will be available upon request. So please, if you need education on fireworks, our staff are the go-to people. Thank you both, Megan. Marco, thank you as well. We'll move on to public comments. You want to sign up, Ashley?
Yep. I did.
Okay.
Well, after listening to this information about Clark's display.
Really? Name, address?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, Grill Mitch, 4056 Hope Mills. Yes, even Hope Mills. How about that? After listening to what the mayor said, town manager, and what some of you said, we made a decision last year We listened to the town staff. They said, listen, based on the survey, this is what the citizens said they wanted. Now, those citizens that chose not to read and answer the survey, well, that's on them. We're not gonna satisfy everybody. The nickel and dime questions, question what the board made, the decision they made, guess what? You should have looked at the manager's report. Look at the minutes. You could have asked those questions several months ago. Go back and look at the minutes. If you have a question, the decision was made by this board. Every decision that I made sitting up there is based on the experts sit out here. Public Works, Parks and Recs, the town manager, the fire department, the police department. I don't make a decision until I hear from them and I talk to them. Chancellor can tell you, we've had knockdown, drag out arguments. And I said, I really don't care. Do the research. Show me why I should say yes. Show me why I should say no. If your research information don't support it, guess what? We're going to keep researching until we come to a conclusion that we can make. That is what we do when we sit up there. We should be listening to the town staff. If you don't listen to the staff, keep making bad decisions, and it will cost the town. Got a town attorney. He's a legal expert. Every question, like you said tonight, send it to the people. Let them answer your questions. Stop wasting people's time. Stop wasting the town manager's money, the staff's time. That's what we're doing. Let's do it the right way. This board that I sat up there on, we made decisions based on what was given us, and that's what should be done. We just wasted a whole bunch of time and money on some damn fireworks.
Thank you, former Commissioner Gurley Mitchell. Anyone else sign up for public comments? Okay, moving on. Next item is the consent agenda. Item A, consideration of approval of the Board of Commissioners' April 15th regular meeting minutes. That's under tab 5. Item B is consideration of approval of the Board of Commissioners' closed session minutes, March 4th, 2024, and April 1st, 2024. There are no attachments. Do you have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda as presented?
Motion to approve. Second.
All right, we have a motion, have a second. Any discussion? All in favor? Seeing none opposed, motion carries. Rolling right on, that's the end of consent agenda. Old business, there are none. Under new business, item 7A, consideration of acceptance of the contiguous annexation request of 14.89 acres of land into the town limits A 2024-03 and adopt resolution R 2024-06, directing town clerk to investigate the sufficiency of the petition. That's under tab 6. And that belongs to Chancellor.
I'll speak on that briefly. This is just simply the town clerk receiving the annexation petition. This is a project that we've talked extensively through with our plan review committee. What you have before you tonight is a request simply to direct her to investigate the self-sufficiency of the application, which at the next board meeting she'll be asking you to set the public hearing. So this is simply her letting you know that the petition has been accepted. Again, I'll stress that we have had extensive conversations with the plan review on this. And so the request again is to direct her to begin the self-sufficiency portion at the next board meeting.
Okay, do we have a motion? Do a second.
I'd like to make a motion that we move to accept the annexation petition and adopt resolution R 2024-06, directing the clerk to investigate the sufficiency of the petition.
Second? All right, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Seeing none opposed, motion carries. Moving on to item B, approving section 38-28 of the current code ordinances, open burning ordinance revision. That is under tab 7, and that one is yours, Jansen?
I'm gonna let our fire marshal come up and speak to it, but this is a amendment to the code of ordinances tied to some serious concerns we've had about some construction sites. And I think Commissioner Marley will remember at the one apartment, I think it's like 1 o'clock in the morning, and he and I on the phone, and it's this fire that's out of control. I think they have been shooting water on for about an hour, and it's just simply wasn't going out. And it was something that I even learned. It was very complicated when a lot of developers are clearing trees and piling these big piles of trees up. There's a chemical reaction, and Bobby, throw something at me if I'm going off the rails here, but from my level of understanding, but there's a chemical reaction that begins at the bottom of this pile, where when that begins, it is extremely difficult to put it out if you don't take equipment to push the pile over. What happens is we had a fire off of Blackbridge Road recently where some of these types of fires are starting with a certain level of construction, and I think that type of burning is what he wants to actually amend to take out of the ordinance as a legal activity. And so that's something he brought to me. We have been talking for a while, and I'll let him go into some details about the ordinance change.
Thank you, Mayor and Board. The weekend of April 15th, we responded to a push-up pile. Fire department responded to a push-up pile off of Blacksbridge Road. A total of about 5 times in a little over a 24, close to a 36-hour period. The last time we responded, we put over 6,000 gallons of water on this push-up pile at a construction site where they were clearing the trees. It is allowed by North Carolina General Statute and the fire code to have push-up piles. They allow that, but there's a process that a developer has to go through the environmental quality control folks to get a permit and then approved, to get permission from the North Carolina Forestry Organization. Then it can come to the local municipality to get a permit. The problem is the neighbors in the housing area right there off of Blacksbridge Road, the smoke was drifting across. They got their windows open, the smoke's drifting. So we kept getting calls and calls and calls. We kept putting water on it. It flamed back up. So I went to the town manager, because this is not the first time this has happened, and asked, would it be possible to do a revision on the ordinance and take out those lot clearing push-up piles out of the ordinance? It wouldn't affect anything like someone if they had a little fire pit in the backyard and they were doing a marshmallow with their grandkids or whatever, but just strictly on the lot clearing and land developing where they push up those big piles, we would take that out and wouldn't have any liability there as far as any issues. So that's what I had spoke to the town manager about.
And Bobby, correct me if I'm wrong, this change would require them to ship those piles down to a much more finite level that would eliminate this.
Yes, sir. An example of how this works, when 295 crossed Lake Upchurch, the state did not allow DOT to burn those push-up piles. They had to chip it up. It was hauled off, and they use it for mulch or along the interstates or so forth. The apartment complex that's going in off of Town Center Drive right out at Traymore, they contacted me about doing push-up piles, and I told them, I said, I don't think you'll be able to get a permit through the state, and I don't think it would be able to be approved through the town because you have a housing area right behind it. You've got the shopping center. You've got Harmony at Hope Mills across the street. So there was a lot of things there. And I just think it's the best decision to maybe take that out of the ordinance, and then we can just tell them that based on our town ordinance, we don't issue push-up pile permits for burning. You would have to haul it off or chip it or whatever.
Okay, any comments?
I'll have a comment. I'm just gonna make a motion that we approve section 38-28 of the current code of ordinances, open burning ordinance revision.
We have a motion, we have a second, we have any discussion?
Second.
Already have a second, Commissioner Lay.
Oh, I'm sorry.
We did.
Third.
We have any discussion? All in favor? Seeing none opposed, motion carries. Thank you, Bobby. Next item is item C, approval of Tiffany Brisson to the Hope Mills Prime Movers and Dr. Tara Jordan to the Parks and Recreation Committee, and as the Board of Adjustment alternate member to fill an unexpired term through September 2025, and that is under tab 8. Someone from the nominating committee would like to address that?
First of all, I think we got our wires crossed. People are filling out applications now. They fill out one, they stay on it as long as they want to until they get ready to leave. We don't stop at 7. So when you say we have, that makes the 7th person and we don't have room for anybody else on the committee. That's not what we approve. We approve for as many people that wants to serve on a committee to serve on it. Is that not right?
Mayor, I think, previous board I was on, we set the limit at 7 members.
We changed it though since then.
No.
They changed
They
the term,
changed,
but I don't
yeah.
think we changed the number.
Correct.
And I'll go back and I will research this. We said that we would allow as many people that want to join a committee can join it, because we need all the help in committees as we can do.
Commissioner Craver, if I may clarify, the changes that you guys did make was that there would be no term limits except for the committees that were regulated outside of the ones that are appointed by the board, which the Board of Adjustment is one of those. And then you also allowed for residents to apply to be on more than one board, capping it at 2. But there was no changes to the amount of members that serve on each board. So specifically, the Cultural Arts Committee that you and I discussed, if you go and you look at the bylaws or the rules that make up that committee, it specifically says that it is maxed at 7 members, which is why I informed you that that board was full and that no more members could be appointed to that. Now, if the board wants to change that, that's absolutely your prerogative, but I'm just going based on the rules that are presented.
Well, I remember we discussing this, that we were going to open up the committees so that we could have more volunteers, so that we'd have more that they could help with our projects and things, and do the things. That's what I remember sitting here listening. And I know the mayor and I have discussed this.
I think there was some discussion about lifting the cap on the committees, but I know there was no action taken by the board.
Because my committee bylaws still have 7, so I would have to change the bylaws, so no. That's why I don't remember you ever saying that.
I'm gonna let y'all do what you want to.
Let me ask the board, is the consensus of the board to take the cap off the 7? Isn't all the committees are locked at 7, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so what is that 7 people? We're having a hard enough time getting people, get a quorum as it is. Why are you blocking volunteers in this town to 7 per committee?
I'll chime in as well. I think the challenge was getting people, because when you had committees that didn't have a quorum, you had a committee that only had 2 or 3 people. And so you had a situation where you were talking about the transition from the term limits, where people had expiring term limits and had to reapply. So that's what we talked about suspending. We never talked about extending the number of people on the committees beyond the cap of 7, because if you have a committee with 7 members, you don't have quorum issues, because that is a full committee. The reason why I think you guys were addressing the rules were tied to the committees that couldn't fill up to 7 slots.
No, that's not what I understood it to be. That's not what my intentions was when I first brought it up. And I don't like having to go in and get these applications and say, this person should be on these two committees. And then thought it was settled, then I get an agenda that says, no, Dr. Jordan, we're not gonna put her on the Veterans Committee. We're gonna put her as an alternate to the Board of the Board of Adjustment. Now, here is a smart woman that's young that will jump right in there. We don't need to put her as an alternate to a Board of Adjustments that never meets. So I'm recommending that she goes on the two she wanted, the Veterans Affairs and the Parks and Recreation Advisory Committee. And as far as Tiffany Grissom, she's checked the Prime Movers and the Cultural Arts Committee, and I'm recommending that she goes on those two.
Board Commissioner Squirrel.
Well, okay, if I already have, I don't off the top of my head know how many, do I have 7?
You have 6.
I have 6, so I'm allowed to have one more anyway. But once I hit 7, I would have to change my bylaws, and that would have.
That's easy to do.
That's not my call though, I'm not the chairperson, and so for me to take that away from my committee, that's kind of, it's the purpose of having a committee, that's their call.
But committees need workers.
Yes.
I have been on the,
but having more people,
listen, 2 of us have done all the work at Christmas and everything, because the rest of the committee worked. So why can we not have more on a committee so that there'd be more that can help out?
Because if they're not showing up now, more is just gonna add more to confusion, because the higher the numbers, isn't it more for the quorum? So it doesn't really matter.
So, can I interject? So, we don't stop people from serving. So I always tell people, you have a right to come into any committee meeting that you want to attend. You have a right to volunteer. We used to have, we call them like liaisons to the Prime Movers. It was like community members that would come in, city meetings, partner with us. The only thing you don't have voting rights. But anything else you want to do, as we did for the Prime Movers, we had a lot of people that would come up to meetings. And I think Dr. Jordan, some people from the Delta Committee did that earlier, but they can come. They did, and they had liaisons, and they would come. They just couldn't vote. They weren't voting members, but they would come and they would volunteer, and we opened it up for anyone. The whole time I've been on the board, I've only recalled one time when we had Parks and Rec and the Veterans Affairs, where it was more people that wanted to be on the committee than we had applicants. Other than that, I can't recall ever having an issue, so it doesn't stop anyone. And I thought I needed one more person in the Arts and Culture Committee. I could be wrong. I thought it was 6. However, it does not stop a person from serving and helping. The only thing they can't do is vote. But they can participate. They can help.
I'll note too, I know we do have a provision, because we discussed this before, that if a committee is having problems getting members there, and there are members who routinely miss meetings, the board can vote to remove them and appoint people who are interested. So there's that avenue as well.
And Dan, we've discussed that committees police themselves to the members, and if we have members on the committee that are there and they're not participating, they're not active, then the committee needs to make a recommendation to the board, and we can remove them and then put in new members that want to work and contribute to the mission of the committee.
Well, it's in the ordinance that if they miss 3 meetings, they're automatically removed and replaced.
Well, we don't know when they're removed if you don't invite them.
Well, we don't know the 3 meetings that they've missed. That's why it's up to the
If
liaison.
3 meetings in a row. I can't recall if it's automatic or if that still requires board action.
That was brought up at the time when we had a couple of people that went to one of the meetings and acted really ugly and then dropped off, and I just don't remember that much.
I'll note too that the board does have authority to remove people anyway.
I just want people that want to serve. The
feel like they are part of a committee. And the more volunteers we can get, the better off our communities and our towns can be. That is that a thing that says only 7 people out of 50 can vote.
Another point of clarification.
But I still think you can, when you go to get new officers in here, take in those people to live. One of them might be a better chairman than the one of the 7 which you have for so many years. I just feel like if we can get people in this town to want to volunteer and they help out, we should let them.
Another point of clarification with Mrs. Jordan, she did list 3 committees on an application. One of the committees had a full roster. The Board of Adjustment Committee was a committee that had an open slot. So that's the other committee that she was put on. So it's not like you're putting her on a committee she didn't request to be put on. But I think the practice is, if you're getting an influx of applications and you have 2 or 3 committees that are full, you want to be able to fill those vacant slots as well. But this particular person that is under consideration tonight, one of the positions that you're recommending her to be on was one of the vacant slots that she filled out an application for. So it's not like we're putting her on the Board of Adjustment that she didn't want to be.
No, she put on there that if I think she thought she could serve on all 3. But I do know that she originally wanted to be on the veterans. And then when she and I talked, she wanted to be on the parks and recreation as well. The veterans, she can serve on veterans. I mean, is that what you said?
She would make 7.
And then, so also real quick, and I have to try to find my bylaws. I think one of the people that we actually had put to the Veterans Affairs Committee is not a veteran or a spouse of a veteran. So that was erroneously happened where we had them, because I want to say our bylaws state that they have to be a spouse or a veteran themselves. So I might have to figure that out next meeting with my committee.
Okay, commissioners, let's circle back to the original motion. So where's Tiffany Brisson gonna go?
If I may add one other consideration, under our Board of Adjustment ordinance, we are required to have 5 members plus 2 alternates, and the reason for that is if someone doesn't show up for a Board Adjustment meeting or has a potential bias or conflict, that we have alternates ready to go. So our current ordinance does say we shall appoint 2 alternates. We do need that.
Shall, but the whole time I served on that board, we only had 1. And then that was not possible. We didn't have an alternate at all.
We should.
Yeah, we didn't.
Okay, circle back again. Tiffany Brisson, what committee is she going on?
I say veterans and, prime movers and cultural arts.
And if I can just chime in, I have the list here, and the bylaws for the cultural arts is 7 members, and it's already at 7. So, I mean, it's up to you guys if you want to change that, but that's why I didn't move forward putting her on this.
Where did you put her? Just on prime movers?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Tiffany's on prime movers, and
Well, then let's add her up there to the board of adjustment. It's not.
Mayor, can we just table this and bring it back in the next meeting, get this straight, figured out with the.
I think we're close.
This is 9 o'clock.
I think we're close. What about Dr. Jordan?
Dr. Jordan's going on the veterans and parks committee.
So yes or no, actually?
That is up.
No.
Please tell this board what we need to hear, not what you think we need to hear. Please tell us the truth, where they can go, where they can't go, and we need to make a decision. So, thank you.
So I believe, based on what Dan said, either Dr. Jordan or Tara Brisson can go on the Board of Adjustment to fill that alternate seat. That leaves, again, up to the board who you want to put on the Veterans Commission at that point. So they can be switched. I don't have the application in front of me, so I don't know if that is one of the ones that Tiffany selected. I think on her application, she only put prime movers and cultural arts, which is why I went based on the application.
So ultimately, cultural arts is full.
Yeah.
Tiffany applied for cultural arts and prime movers. So prime movers is the slot that she will go to. No. The Board of Adjustment request was for Mrs. Jordan. Dr. Jordan would need to go to Veteran Affairs for the 7th slot, and the alternate slot for Board of Adjustment. Tiffany.
It has to be one or the other. So it has to be one or the other. It has to either be Parks and Rec or Veterans and Board of Adjustment. She can't do 3.
I'll note this with respect to the Board of Adjustment too. It's important to have someone on the Board of Adjustment who does want to serve on the Board of Adjustment because it is a quasi-judicial role that has a lot of responsibility. So we want to make sure we're filling that role with someone who has a desire to be on those.
Commissioner Marley has said he wants to table this item until May 20th. So, is that what we're going to do?
I'd like to make a motion that we table this item, have the nominating committee get with the town clerk and get it right and bring it back to us at the next meeting.
The agenda where it's been done.
Motion, second. Any more discussion?
My discussion is, Mr. Mayor, Tiffany, if you want to work with the Cultural Arts Committee, we are meeting on Thursday at 6:30. We have an artist from Rockies Elementary. We can use all the help that we can get. You are free to come to that meeting if you cannot be a part of the official committee. Are you free? No. Okay. Yes, you're free to come. We can use all the help. That even if you want to be a board member, we can use all the help that we can get. Thank you.
Would you think the term conflict between the two committees?
No, prime movers meet the first Thursday. The cultural arts meets the second Thursday. And right now, I don't have enough members for prime movers, so you'll be just fine because I'm the liaison for both.
Awesome.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. We've got a motion for a table. Second. All in favor? Seeing none opposed, motion carries. Item D, consideration of appropriating $463,550 in ARP funds for the design, development, construction documents related to the senior center at the Golfview Greenway site for a new tennis court, pickleball complex at the Golfview Greenway. Consideration to authorize the town manager to establish a 10% design contingency fund and to approve corresponding budget amendment number 23, and that's under tab 9. That will go to cancer. We'll kick it off.
I'll let LaMarco come speak to it, but this is tied to us ultimately trying to move forward with the design of the senior center. If you are listening to the general public, we are engaging the state representatives for additional funds. And what this will do is it will place us in a position to present this project or this site as shovel ready if we're taking necessary steps to actually move forward with the architectural design. So I'll turn it over to Marco to actually go into detail about the specific utilization of the $463,550.
Mr. Town Manager, you all recall on the March 6th priorities, where we talked about projects, and we actually brought this to you all along with the pickleball complex and a couple other projects. Your instruction at the time was to meet with NCDOT and find out what the requirements would be to develop a pickleball complex, the restrooms, the sports, skate park, etc. And so we did that, and you all instructed us to do that first before we came back, and you all would make a decision on the construction documentation of the senior center. So tonight, what this item is, now that we found out what the requirements are from the NCDOT, that's why you have the this agenda back before you, so we can move forward and have a shovel-ready project. In the event we do come across grant funds, bond funds, etc., it always looks best when you have a shovel-ready project to move forward. I want to step back slightly though. At the last board meeting, you all approved the master plan revision, which shows the footprint of the senior center, along with the sports complex, the pickleball complex, skate park. So all these things mesh together. You need the master plan and the site plan before you get into the construction documents. But this way, once the consultant comes in and presents the master plan and we get input on it, we can then move into construction documents where we get into the details and nuts and bolts of the center. Now that we know where it's going to be on the site, we got the grading, we got the infrastructure. So all these things kind of tie together, we're moving in the right direction. Master plan, site plan, senior center construction documents for everything that's been approved, including the pickleball complex. So with that, I'll take any questions you may have.
Bring the board up to date. Thank you, LaMarco. Over the past week, you always want to have a plan ready when you get that phone call from our legislative delegation. Well, we've had that phone call that's come in from several, even in the short session where we're at right now. And one of the requests, and it's very short notice, and Chancellor will tell you, is that what's your number one priority? Because we may have an opportunity to consider and fund it. That request came in several weeks ago. It was renewed again. The first request came in from Senator Val Applewhite. This last request is being worked on with Representative Francis Jackson, which is House 45, and she's working that now. Each board member has a copy of the priority proposal that was sent to the delegation. This falls in line with something else that was brought out at the Mayor's Coalition on Friday. The results of the municipality survey results summary, and I have a copy of it. Chancellor was there to hear the same thing too. These were issues through all 9 municipalities. Citizens contributed to this survey. And if you look down to miscellaneous topics, one of them was sewer, water, public transportation, parks and rec, retail, public health and safety, miscellaneous projects. Under Hope Mills, it clearly says senior center. Clearly. And that's telling our state representatives that the citizens of all 9 municipalities in Cumberland County, especially Hope Mills, wants a senior center, community related, built in Hope Mills. To even further that, I attended the new senior center along with Commissioner Craver east of the city of Fayetteville. And I want to tell you something, that is a beautiful building. It reminds me of when I attended the opening ribbon cutting of the Bill Crist Center as well. Right now we have a huge opportunity to get a lot of funding, if not all of it, that will help us. And this is about $7 million, $7 to $8 million funding on a center to put on the golf course that will be able to help families, veterans, seniors, all 3 groups at one time. So when we started our budget workshops back in January, coming forward to where we are now was to prepare ourselves for when we had that phone call. Well, we've got it, and we have shared information, and we're ready to pretend that it's not a want. I want to be clear. This is the Chancellor knows this is exactly the way that I described it. This is not a want from Hope Mills. It is a need. It is a very important need that we need for our community. So moving the money tonight sends a clear signal to our legislative delegation that we're serious about putting our own money and skin into the game. Now we have about $900,000 that we have reappropriated for 2 big major projects on the former golf course that will really benefit our community. And I'm going to tell you something, that's huge, and that's really something to be proud of. And that's the reason why it's on the agenda tonight. So with that said, I will ask the board, do you have any comments to add to the comments that I've just talk about.
I have a couple.
Okay, Commissioner
Yeah,
Martin.
man. Not really questions, I guess, but just some comments. After we decided in our budget retreats that we were gonna move ARPA funding that we had remaining from the, sports complex we were looking at, I received a lot of phone calls, a lot of hate phone calls, I guess you could say, a lot of upset people, over moving that money, and I explained to them the reasons why we moved the money. And, so I would like to make a comment that in our budget retreat, some of our meetings we discussed moving forward with the bond process, putting a bond on a future, ballot to, if passed by the citizens of Hope Mills to, move forward with the sports complex and, the streets in the town, street maintenance, in the town. That's still what this board's planning on, moving forward with, I'm sure. So I wanted to make that comment to let the people know that we are looking at that to get funding to complete that project in its entirety. I heard some more comments, I guess about the senior center, about worrying about if it's going to be a true senior center, or if it's just going to be a gym with a space for seniors. So I think that might need to be addressed, here in the future, moving forward, like what to expect as a senior center, what we're talking about. Might just need a little information put out to bring those facts to life as well. But that's all I got. I just wanted to make mention that this board is looking at moving forward, trying to get a bond to fund the sports complex, and some much needed work on streets.
And I can speak to,
And then I'll let you real quick.
I would probably say the same thing you heard.
So we had our initial scoping meeting. So the consultant that's going to redo or update our master plan, they're going to do a concept for the senior center. We met, one of the consultants on the team is an experienced architect that has built several of these senior centers. So Chancellor and I actually sat on a conference call with the firm, and we went through a total array of programming specifically for seniors. Even got down to the type of flooring, curtain walls to expand the rooms, etc. So when we say senior center, it's not just going to be 1 or 2 rooms. It's going to be a program space specifically for seniors, and there's going to be a gym component because seniors want to use the gym. Seniors want to play pickleball, and I've heard that some don't want pickleball. Well, I have over 30 in my center that says different, and try building a senior center without pickleball, and you're probably going to have a room full of people saying that's not true. It's evident, we're overburdened with people wanting to play pickleball, So, and I've heard some people say they don't want youth there. I've seen senior centers. Durham County had a senior center. It was just a senior center with nobody else using it. The center wasn't used in the afternoon after 2 o'clock to the point where they had to lay off staff and close the building at 2 o'clock because during the morning times when the seniors came in, did their program, and then after 2 o'clock, there was no programming or anything for the seniors. So, they took a hit from the citizens about having this elaborate building in Durham County that closed at 2 o'clock after spending $12 million. And at the time, $12 million in 2009 was a lot of money. So I'll just lay that out there from my experience,
We take our back.
I've seen more successful senior centers that had the component where it was dedicated to the seniors all day, but mainly in the morning times. But then in the evening time, there was specific times that everybody can use it, including families, including other programming. So,
and I'll chime in too. One of the things that they provide us with, they are going to provide us with, are a listing of senior centers that they've designed that we can go visit. Another thing I think we should do with this is a public process where you allow people to come in and provide input. That way we give all of our residents the opportunity to be able to chime in on the programming. Another thing I think will be very, very key to the success of this and ensuring that our seniors are actually addressed is to partner with the Mid-Carolina Council on Aging. I think every one of the other senior centers in Cumberland County have that partnership. And so with that partnership, they can come into the center and bring the programming tied to Alzheimer's and different trainings that you provide to seniors that will help make it more valuable. To answer the question that Commissioner Marley said about the bond, Drew and I are actually having an active conversation. So I think, did you say next meeting or the meeting after that?
Next meeting.
Next meeting, he's going to contact the bond council, and so we'll have an update at our next meeting on that bond. And so that's one thing I want the general public to understand. We are gearing up to present you with a recommendation on moving forward with that bond as well, because I do understand. I did hear some of those other comments as well, as we were allocating money towards the senior center and taking away from athletics. That bond would go a great deal at putting a significant amount of that money back. And so we're doing two things at the same time. I do think they are directly addressing the needs of our seniors. And another thing that we talked about, and this is key to what we sent to the state, we are trying to address seniors in this facility, but special needs, veterans with disabilities, and the general public as well. That does a great deal. I think Mayor and Mayor Pro Tem remember the meeting we had with the county in terms of this needs to have a regional draw to it. And so with those different additional needs in it that we can accommodate, I think that packs a bigger punch in terms of what we're requesting from the state.
And designated as a shelter as well.
Yes. And that was one of the main things we put in there, that it will be also built to be designated as a shelter. That was part of the scope of meeting that we want to have with the architect.
I think the board and the staff understand what we're trying to do. I think we all understand what we're trying to do. I just wanted to make sure that we, like you said, reach out and make sure our citizens know what we're talking about, what we're doing, maybe try to have those conversations like the manager said. But like I said, that's just a comment.
That senior center in East Fayetteville, it was paid for, mainly it was paid for by the bond, by the Parks and Rec bond from the city of Fayetteville. It was over $9 million, 18,000 square feet building. And there was grant funding, it was bond funding, and primarily to support what Chancellor was saying, is that the programs and the layout of that facility was all citizen driven. From the very beginning, it was all input, citizen driven. You were there, Commissioner Fraser.
So they will not ask one question about what they want to do.
Well, I heard that they had a separate committee, that it was senior citizen driven. So I don't know which way it ended up. It's a beautiful facility to go out and look at. Okay, any more discussion? Yep.
When you meet with the developer, whoever it is that's gonna look at these, the master plan, stuff like that, and look at the other buildings that they've already developed, one thing that I would, hope to look at is, similar sized towns. Because comparing Fayetteville to Hope Mills, how many 100,000 citizens versus 80,000 citizens?
I think that one of the closer ones they gave us was Myrtle Beach, and they're going to give us a couple of it. Myrtle Beach is not big as Fayetteville, but them explaining what was in that particular building would be similar to, in size and programming, to what we would want here. So that's one of the ones.
Any other comments? Okay, we have a motion to approve item D.
I'll make
And a second.
I'll go ahead and be the fall guy here. I'll make a motion, we appropriate $463,550 in ARPA funds for the design, development, and construction documents related to the senior center at the Gulfview Greenway site and approved budget amendment number 23 for $463,000.
We have a motion, we have a second. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor? Seeing none opposed, motion carries. Moving on to item E, discussion consideration. Thank you, Lamarco.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you.
Set a date in May, Tuesday or Thursday for a public community forum. What's the board's thoughts about a public community forum in May? On one of those 2 days.
I don't think it really matters to me. What's the date in?
It's either a Tuesday or a Thursday.
Mayor, if I could chime in, is there some direction that we can get so that we can, I guess I can make sure staff is prepared on what is there a specific subject matter that we will be focusing on, or is this just a general
community forum?
Thank you.
What's the date today?
Mayor, for me, I would say Tuesday would be better for me.
Don't really matter to me.
Okay, is everybody okay with a Tuesday? Tuesday at, what's the start time?
5:36.
I will point out that the 28th, Dr. McCray, will you be back from your trip? Well, you won't be back until June. So we would probably need to set before that if she wants to.
You don't want the 28th, because that's Memorial Day week.
Can we do it in June, or are we just trying to do it before?
You can do it in June. You want to do it? We're not going to do it before. I mean, it's June 4th. We got Tuesdays.
The first week of June, you got the 4th and the 6th of June. Then you have the 11th and the 13th for the second 2 weeks.
Public, the budget public hearing is that what? Is that June 3rd?
That's June 3rd.
Let's do it on Tuesday.
11th. June.
June 11th at 6. Yeah, what I'm hearing? Is that what we got? And what, and the where? We'll do it here, or we'll do it in the rec center?
I think typically we've done the town hall style events at the rec center. It's a little more personable, so that you guys are kind of sitting with the people.
June 11th, Tuesday, 6 p.m. at the rec center. Consensus of the board? Yes. Okay, we're good then. Moving on, item F, discussion of homeless, or discussion of establishing a homeless committee. Table? Okay, we're going to table discussion, starting a homeless committee. We have a second. On
Homeless task force, and I think I've got that information, so we don't have to form another committee. We already have one, we just need to reactivate it and add committee members.
Okay, we have a motion, we have a second. All in favor? Okay, seeing none opposed, motion carries. Next item, closed session.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to go into closed session pursuant to NCGS 143-318-11, A3, attorney time privilege, and NCGS 143-318-11, A6 personnel.
Motion and second to go in closed session. We'll be back momentarily.
Yeah, you got
Okay. Back? Yeah.
A motion to seal the minutes of the closed session until such time as the release of the information will no longer frustrate the purpose of the closed session, and further no action is taken.
Okay. Motion second, any discussion? All in favor? Okay. Seeing none opposed, motion carries. Last item on the agenda under item 9 is reports and information items. Monthly reports, tab 10. I will say that our departments really do a heck of a lot of work. And a lot of times tab 10 is at the end of the agenda packet and it's overlooked. I'm gonna highlight tab 10 and look at all the work that goes on in all of our departments in this town. Look how detailed it is. That's item A. Item B is the reminders. The Historic Preservation Committee is May 8th. Don't forget, we have a joint Parks and Rec Committee meeting at 6 tomorrow night. Cultural Arts is May 9th. Our next meeting is May 20th. Chief, you got something?
The bike rodeo is Saturday.
Yes.
11 to 1.
Yep, and that wasn't on here, but I had it on here, that the bike rodeo is coming up. Okay, that's item 9. Item 10 is staff comments. We've got a lot of
No
comments
comment.
tonight.
no further comments.
No comments tonight? Okay, item 11, do I have a motion to adjourn? Second? We are adjourned. Thank you very much.
What unhealthy stuff am I gonna
It's officially all.
Actually, we have to-
Everything.